So now is the time that if we were meeting at Park Road Baptist Church, we would stand up and say hello to each other and actually get to shake each other's hands and hug each other. And that's been a long time since we've been able to do that. So I invite you to scroll through the faces on your screen. That's about the best we can do. And see who's here tonight. So good to see everybody. Zoom is pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. So welcome, meditators. Tonight's meditation and Dharma talk is an offering from Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte. My name is Thia Powers, and I'm a Dharma leader in training. So the past few months have been really unusual, and I have been working with the undercurrent of sort of concern and anxiety, more anxiety than I usually feel. And not only have I felt a little tense, but it feels to me that when I go out and interact, those brief interactions with a mask and shield and all that, other people feel tense too. And I know that we're witnessing kind of a new world and a kind of an out of balance world. It feels that way to me. And so a lot of the times I use that self-soothing of checking into the minute and saying, okay, well, right now it's like this, and a lot of times it's uncomfortable. I also know that there's a lot of moments of people being really kind to each other right now. I've noticed extra kind, and that seems sweeter than ever to me. So I hope you've been noticing that too. Part of the anxiety I feel is that I sort of feel that I can't do that much about it, and or like I can't have an immediate effect on it. And I thought tonight what we might focus on are things that we can have an immediate effect on, stuff that we can do something about. And so for me, it felt like shifting from the drama to the dharma. And that's what I'd like to do for myself and hopefully for you all tonight. The most logical place for me to start was with the fourth noble truth. This is my third Dharma talk with this group, and I've been working with the Four Noble Truths for a while. And the fourth noble truth is the way to the end of suffering. So how perfect is that if you all are feeling any anxiety or worry? The fourth noble truth basically has three names. It's the fourth noble truth, the way to the end of suffering, and as it's really well known, the noble eightfold path. So this is a huge topic to take on in 15 or 20 minutes. And so I'm going to motor through it pretty quickly. And so we won't go deeply tonight, but there will be other opportunities to do that. And to be clear, I'm not implying that the end of suffering is like, just study this, It involves, of course, a cumulative sitting and lots of meeting with Sangha mates. And it's called a path, it's called a practice, it's one step at a time, it's an unfolding. But I have found that this has been a wonderful sort of a map for me to move through some of my own anxiety. So some time ago, I noticed that in my own practice, I was cultivating not only beneficial things, but I was noticing that I was cultivating I was noticing anger and sadness and lots of other stuff coming up. And so I thought that the way to address this would be to go deeper into my study because I already do a lot of sitting. So for context about tonight's topic, let's remember the Four Noble Truths. The first one is that everyone suffers, there is suffering. The second is that there are causes of suffering. The third is that suffering and stress can be resolved. And the fourth is that there is a path to resolve suffering. Ajahn Chah, one of my favorite teachers, calls this path being the dharma. And I love that because there's a lot of things we can do. So I'm going to screen share with you now a chart. And this is, give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Anybody? Okay, thank you. So the fourth noble truth is the eightfold path, the path to the end of suffering. And here on the left side of the chart, you see the 8 parts of the path, the factors in the path, starting with view and intention, which are grouped into the theme of wisdom, and then followed by speech, action, and livelihood, which are the ethical behaviors, the factors that build integrity, and then followed by effort, mindfulness, and concentration. And this is the mind training or the concentration theme. So I'm a visual learner, and when I see something like this, it helps me a lot because there's a lot of information tonight. So maybe you can just sort of burn this into your memory as I talk, and or take a screenshot, or I'll send it to you. So try to remember that. And we'll also notice that the path is cyclical in nature, and so it's also depicted as a wheel with 8 spokes. Let's see if I can pull that up for you. Sometimes you'll see this wheel with 8 spokes, and this is, let's see if I can get this. And this is a real common symbol for the Eightfold Path. And I didn't realize until not too long ago that this was, like the core teachings of the Buddha. And that's why this is often shown as the symbol for Buddhism. So we use the teachings of the Buddha here to study compassion and mind training. And we'll start tonight by exploring these 8 factors. The wheel I just showed you is called the Dharma Chakra, or the Truth Wheel. So when the Buddha defined the 8 factors on this path as right, he wasn't so much presenting a dogmatic or a moralistic way of looking at the world, because you hear right view, right intention, and so on. But he was pointing out that certain views led him to the end of suffering, that he was able to resolve his suffering. So he was simply suggesting that we may want to take a look at this, at our own views and at these views, if we're interested in resolving suffering. And I'm definitely interested in that. So the first factor you'll remember on the path is skillful view. And you'll notice that I choose to use the word skillful instead of right, because right feels a little bit dualistic to me, like right and wrong. But skillful sounds like something that we aspire to. So I'm just substituting skillful. So skillful view is referred to as the forerunner for this whole path, because first of all, if we don't realize that we have stress and suffering in our life and that we can do something about it, we may never be motivated to study any of this or to seek the path. And so skillful view includes an awareness that all of our actions have consequences, that there are natural laws of cause and effect for every single action. And this is sometimes called karma. A well-known example of simple karma, of cause and effect, is gravity. When we drop something, it falls down, not up. So skillful view is studying karma, or cause and effect, and knowing from experience that all of our actions do and will have consequences. The second part of skillful view is an ever deepening grasp of the Four Noble Truths, or the knowledge of suffering and the resolution of suffering. So that's our first factor on the path, skillful view. You'll notice, like many profound teachings, these factors and their topics are woven together. They can be approached sequentially, like we're doing tonight, just to keep it simple, but they're actually more like a matrix. They all are almost like a Rubik's Cube. They all move, touch each other, are found in each other. And the more I study them, I see that they're just beautifully, elegantly linked together. A second factor on the path, skillful or right intention, is a really important pivoting point, because view sets you on the path, and then right intention allows you to take steps on the path. It actually connects your understanding or your view to your action. So that's a really critical piece too. Your intention is the primary determinant of whether you're sowing seeds that will result in beneficial choices, or if you're sowing seeds that will result in harmful choices for yourself and for others. So your intention is really important. Skillful intention includes resolving to give up the causes of suffering, resolving to replace anger and ill will with goodwill and kindness, and resolving to practice harmfulness, harmlessness for self and others, and give up harmfulness. So this sounds really simple, but very few of us master this quickly, and this is one of the reasons we practice daily and have the support of the Sangha. These two factors, right view and right intention, or skillful view and skillful intention, are in the theme or the category of wisdom. The third factor is skillful speech. And here we want to look at, is it truthful, is it beneficial, and is it timely? When you're speaking to someone, you can just pause and think about that, because all three of those factors need to be met for it to be considered skillful speech. It's easy to meet one of those factors, but meeting all three is kind of a challenge. And I think that skillful speech is called out in a category by itself because it's so easy to hurt people or to weaponize with words. And this includes social media posts, being online. I'll come back to that. And self-talk is really important in skillful speech. So we're going to review this at the end. So if you miss something, know that we're going to review it at the end, and know that you're going to hear this taught in many different ways in the Sangha. So that was skillful speech, the third factor on the path. Is it true, beneficial, and timely? The fourth factor is skillful action. And these are not killing living beings. This is known as taking the precepts. Some of you do this every day. I think that's a beautiful thing. Not killing living beings, not taking life, not taking things if they're not offered freely, not stealing, basically. Not to engage in inappropriate sexual behavior, not to lie, and not to abuse intoxicants and cloud the mind. So when we practice these skillful actions, we're basically creating a simple, healthy life, and we're building a life of more integrity. And when we sit to meditate on the cushion, it's easier. We're not worried about what we did last night, or that little white lie we told, or are the police going to be knocking on the door, anything like that. it just puts us at ease. So the fourth factor is skillful actions. The fifth factor is skillful livelihood. Now, this embodies the principle that each person should follow an honest occupation, that we should fully respect other people, and we should fully respect the natural world. It means being responsible for the consequences of our actions and only taking a fair share of the earth's resources. So again, we're not engaging in harm to self or others. So we have the third, fourth, and fifth factors are skillful speech, skillful action, and skillful livelihood. And they are in the theme or the category of ethical behaviors, which is basically living with integrity. So oftentimes we're encouraged to begin practicing at the ethical behaviors, and specifically with skillful speech. We start to take these relatively simple steps, and we really quickly see how everything we do has ripple effects that are beneficial or not beneficial for ourselves and for our relationships and for the larger community. So it's a beautiful place to start studying the Eightfold Path, is right here at the ethical behaviors. So the last grouping of factors or components in these teachings are in the category of mind training, also known as concentration. And the first one is skillful effort, the sixth factor on the path. And that involves cultivating and sustaining wholesome thoughts and behaviors, which is why we practice metta. That's a good example of cultivating and sustaining a wholesome act and behavior. It's also about identifying and abandoning unwholesome thoughts and behaviors. So it's like when I noticed that I had some anger and I had some impatience and I had some anxiety. It's to go in and look at those things and see what's underneath them and see how they feel in the body and work with them and learn about them. And eventually they lessen. So that's skillful effort. The seventh factor is skillful mindfulness. And here we learn and practice the four foundations of mindfulness. Denise was talking about mindfulness of body a few weeks ago. We use the breath and we explore and scan the body and explore the container that we're in. We work with mindfulness of mind, seeing thoughts as objects, basically. And we work with feeling tones, unpleasant, pleasant, neutral. And we work with dhammas. So dhammas or dharma with a capital D means truth or the path. And with a lowercase d, it basically means everything, the nature of everything. So we're working with mindfulness of everything in that seventh factor. And that's, leaving the cushion and walking about the day, washing the dishes, being in the car. And so finally, the last factor is skillful concentration. And this is known to us when we have a settled and a calm mind, when we really feel peaceful and awake, composed, unperturbed. This is what one of the beautiful benefits of practicing on a regular basis is we come to this ability to have a concentrated and calm mind. Bhikkhu Bodhi says, like a lake unruffled by any breeze, the concentrated mind is a faithful reflector that mirrors whatever is placed before it, exactly as it is. So as it is, knowing things as they are, not trying to make them different, being comfortable with what is. So right effort or skillful effort, right mindfulness, skillful mindfulness, and right concentration form this last group of mind training or concentration. Okay, I'm going to go through the 8 factors to help us remember those. And I'm going to give you my cheat sheet for how, a way that I remember it. That's kind of corny, but that's okay. The 8 factors start with view and intention. So I think of victory, VI. With right view and right intention, you can be victorious, okay? So that helps me. VI, view and intention, victory. And then we have speech, action, and livelihood. And so that's like sallying forth, SAL, sallying forth, taking action, taking your practice into the world. And then the third group is effort, mindfulness, and concentration. So EMC makes me think of E equals MC squared. So working with the mind training. So maybe that'll help a little bit. It took me a while to memorize these, and who knows, I may forget them tomorrow after this talk is over, but I doubt it. And then we have the 3 groups or themes that someone was just asking me about. And they are, again, the ethical behaviors, which are practiced first, usually, which are the sallying forth, speech, action, and livelihood. We have the concentration theme, which trains us in experiencing what happens on the cushion and expanding our consciousness. And this is effort, mindfulness, and concentration. And then we have the wisdom theme, which trains us in investigation. So we want to cultivate this direct knowing and realized understanding by working with the view that we talked about earlier and examining the intentions, keeping those clean and clear. So that's it. That's the Eightfold Path in a nutshell in 20 minutes. And this is a year-long study program. So I'm amazed that that we could go through that in less than 20 minutes. And I want to say just a few more things. And I encourage you that if you do have some questions, to jot them down. And in just a minute, we can either chat them in or you can raise your hand. So we can train in these ways no matter what path we're on. That's one of the beautiful things about this. This is a beautiful teaching, I feel, and I think most of us feel that it's beneficial for just about anybody at any time. And we're on the path together in so many ways. We're mindfulness practitioners, we're meditators, and we're cultivating our minds, and we're cultivating its thought seeds and the fruits of those seeds. I know for me in this topic, I've found the reserves that I've needed in this really difficult time. And these are things that I can work on now that really help me just deal with things in a kinder and more patient way. I feel that the Eightfold Path has really practical and important aspects for all of us, which is why I bit off this big topic to bring to us tonight. I think it calls us to be the best and most skillful humans we can be. And so I'm excited about being on this journey with you together. I'd love to hear any questions or any comments that you have. So not only can you do this, I want to say, but no one can do it for you, obviously. But this is why we have a Sangha. This is why we talk on the phone. This is why we have tea together at a distance. This is why we study and read. This is why the teachings of the Buddha are so inspiring, as we know it has been done many times. This new relationship with suffering that actually lessens it and makes it feel diminished. And so all of this is right by your side as you walk on this path. And I'd like to end with a quote from Bob Marley, who said, "None but ourselves can free our minds." Thank you for your ears. And so I see a few chats have come in, and of course we have a few announcements. Let's see what the chats say. Can you repeat the factors in skillful speech? Skillful speech should be timely, it should be true, and I might have to dig on the floor to find that third factor. Timely, true, and I'll dig on the floor in a minute and find that. So I find myself unaware of negative self-talk. It's good to know it's included in the speech. Absolutely. How can I become more aware of how I speak to myself about myself? That's such a great question, Angela. For me, the way this shows up is when I'm feeling particularly tense, or even before tonight's talk, I was feeling nervous, and I paused to sort of look at that and go, okay, what am I telling myself? That, you know, that things won't go well, that I might make a mistake, and what if that happens? What if there's a technological glitch? When you feel your body constricting, usually there's some self-talk running in there somewhere that you might want to look for. I hope that's helpful. For me, it's body constriction is how I can tell. Thank you, Dan Tyndall. I appreciate all the encouraging words. Wonderful. Okay. So if there are any other questions, you can chat them in. I don't think anybody has their hand raised that I can tell. Let me see if I can get that third factor. Here we go. Is it truthful? Is it beneficial? And is it timely? So it can be truthful and not be so beneficial. We know that. And I will send that. I saw that somebody is requesting the graphic. Sometimes beneficial speech, truthful speech can be harmful if it's not timed right. So there's a lot that goes into that speech part. I think it's super important. So thanks for asking that. Let's move. Wait a minute, 4 new messages. Somebody like the quickie code? That's great. And Anitra, glad you're here. Okay, our announcements for October, most things are underway, but this Saturday, October 10th, there's a cleanup at Freedom Park that Gail Goforth is organizing. You can find that on the website if you want to join in. That starts at 9 o'clock. And there's an opening in the book group, which is unusual. You can find that on the website. Right now, they're doing the Sharon Salzberg new book. So there's one opening, I'm pretty sure. If you want to jump in there, do it fast. And starting soon, Debbie George's Living the Four Noble Truths will begin on October 20th. I think there are openings there. That's on the website. And then in November, we have a Second Harvest Food Bank volunteer event coming up. And that's on the website as well. So the newsletter is another place to check if you want more details about any of the ongoing events in the Sangha. I want to thank all of the volunteers. There's so much support in this Sangha. It's really like the swan gliding across the lake with the paddling like crazy going on underneath the water. So thank you for the volunteers, definitely. We run completely on donations. And so if you feel that you have received benefit from the Sangha or the teachings, I encourage you to go online and make a donation at imccharlotte.org. And are there any non-IMC meditation related announcements that need to be made? Okay, I actually have one non-IMC meditation related announcement. The Tricycle community, which is a Buddhist publication, is offering 365 days of practice, and it is on the Eightfold Path. And it's $10 a month for a daily practice delivered into your inbox. So Tricycle is TRICYCLE. Tricycle, I believe it's .org. Yes, it is. So that seems like a good thing to check out. So I'd like to leave you with this quote before we engage in metta meditation. We have to be prepared and willing to discover what is true, even at the cost of our comfort. For real security always lies on the side of truth, never on the side of comfort. This is from Bhikkhu Bodhi, The Noble Eightfold Path, The Way to the End of Suffering. It's a beautiful book to add to your library. So let's move into metta. It's our tradition at Insight to end with metta each time we meet. And this is the way that we practice in generating wholesome thoughts and wholesome actions. And this is also a way that we learn to love with ease. So make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes, and you may want to call out the name of someone that is in need of metta. Beginning with yourself, silently say, "May I be safe and healthy. May I know peace of mind and heart. May I be free and love with ease. Switching now to someone that you would like to offer beneficial energy to. May you be safe and healthy. May you know peace of mind and heart. May you be free and love with ease. And we widen this net of loving kindness to include all beings, even beings that we do not have good feelings about. The whole point is to practice generating wholesome feelings. So we extend now to all beings without exception. May all beings be safe and healthy. May all beings know peace of mind and heart. May all beings, without exception, be free and love with ease. May any merit generated tonight be for the benefit of all beings. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week. Good night.